Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. As you already know, this is Wednesday, which lets you know that as you see, this is the Heavy Hitters Wednesday. I am your host, 6-Man K Styles, the Debonair. I got the feng shui beads on today, so I am Zen Styles. Zen Styles. And to my stage left, as you already know him as the Great One, the homicidal, suicidal, maniac, Bad Mike Sports. Down here at the bottom, you already know, get your collection plates out. We have the Minister, Jew, Talk, Sports, and get your pen and paper out. We have the Professor, the teacher. Well, I can't call him teacher because that's Teacher Red's name. You can't call him teacher. You stay Professor Noah. Welcome to the world of the heavy hitters. And we got 3 special words for everybody. What are those 3 special words?
Real roll call. Roll call.
And today's roll call, we're going to kick this off right. We got YMOF Jamal. We got Joseph Thornton, Robert Ponder, Marlon Johnson, Bubba Gump, Big Ant in the building, J Dog, Jamal Grant, Boomer Falcon, Jerry Bowie, Trey Hill, ATL Leo, Pat Norris, D Coleman, Lyrics Mom, Red Swarm, Michael, happy birthday. Not that Michael Walker, William Amy, and Low Ski. If I didn't say your names, we're going to shout you out later in the show, but we got to go ahead and get this thing kicking off here in 3, 2, 1. What's going on, people, man? As you already know, today's topic, we are going to be talking about the newest Atlanta Falcon. As you already heard, in today's news, the Falcons had just recently signed nose tackle Eddie Goldman. I know one of the main people that's up here salivating right now is somebody we're gonna let him start us off with the blessing on this one. The floor is yours, Minister.
Yeah, y'all know I love this. Y'all already know. Y'all know when it comes to the trenches, the defensive line, that's my favorite topic. And we finally filled that role. We finally went out and brought in Eddie Goldman. As you guys know, I was pushing for Akeem Hicks, former Chicago Bear, former New Orleans Saint. He signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but Eddie Goldman, this is a good signing from the Chicago Bears as well. And we've talked about this. I don't know how many Chicago Bear, Tennessee Titans players that we picked up during the offseason, doing free agency, but this is another familiarity type pickup. You're bringing in a guy that's familiar with the scheme, familiar with Ryan Pace, I believe his name is, if I'm not mistaken, that came over from Chicago, their former GM. And Mike did a video on this earlier where he talked about a little bit about Ryan Pace and talked a little bit about Eddie Goldman, but he's 6'3", 325 pounds, 330 pounds. So this is a guy you can place right next to Grady Jarrett, and you can have a rotation of guys. So I'm loving this pickup because now you have a guy that can come in and compete with Anthony Rush, can come in and compete with Timmy Horn, and hopefully we keep all of this beef on the roster. Pause. But hopefully we can keep all of this. Hey, you guys know.
We have all the meats.
There you go. There you go, man. We
Yeah,
gotta have
Arby's commercial.
those guys with the what they say, the hot dogs on the back of their head or the back of their neck. The hot dogs. We need these guys, man. These guys are gonna be the ones. I'm gonna start calling them Grady Jarrett's bodyguards. That's what they're gonna new nickname gonna be, because Grady finally got him some help up front. He finally got somebody that can play that zero, that one tech. And these are guys that are pure one techs, and they can. Well, Eddie Goldman is a guy that's actually pretty good at rushing the passer as well for his size. Anthony Rush is more of like the 0 or the 1, but you got guys now that can actually help Grady out. And we're not going to have to hear what we heard last year when Grady said, you ain't got to guard nobody else or block nobody else. Because now they got plenty of beef up front that they got to worry about. They got plenty of big guys up front that they're going to have to worry about blocking. And we finally got somebody that can help Grady out up front, because I'm tired of seeing Grady playing that role of trying to keep the linebackers clean. So now you got guys up front that not only are Grady's bodyguards, but are bodyguards for the Deion Jones of the world, the Rashaan Evans, the Michael Walkers. Trust me, they're similar to a quarterback is the linebacker. And as you see, the quarterbacks are, they normally buy those big guys up front, Rolexes for Christmas and TVs and all different gifts. That's going to be Deion Jones this season. That's going to be Rashaan Evans and those linebackers, buying dinners and things of that nature for them big guys up front, for keeping them clean and allowing them to just scrape and get into the backfield and get tackles for loss and things of that nature, and make everybody's job easier. I mean, we talked about this when we didn't go out and bring in Big Jordan Davis, that big guy, those bigger guys up front, that's going to help the whole defense. And that's what we're doing. So it looks like this team is finally building that identity. As we said, and Mike talked about it in our last show about Arthur Smith, and Dean Pease, them having that identity, them knowing what type of players they wanted to go after. That's what we're seeing with these signings, and I'll leave it at that.
Oh, man. Professor, you got the floor.
Yeah, I'm going to think of this basketball analogy, if you will. Generally, you have a guy that will set up a screen for another guy to have the crossover, go for the dunk, that sort of thing, right? I think that Eddie Goldman's position back on the Bears was to do that for Akeem Hicks. He was the guy that was going to set up the screen and then let Akeem Hicks work his magic. Now, if we were to get Akeem Hicks, we're essentially getting him and Grady to do the same job while still needing that other guy to set up the screen. Anthony Rush is a fine thing, but he's more of a run stopper. You need someone else in order to take that responsibility to set them up with the stunt. And you can have either them, you can have Vincent Taylor, you can have Timmy Horn, you can have Taquan Graham, do it, whatever you want, but you need more experience in there. And now you're having that veteran presence in the room for that job. So now I think it's more of a better fit than what Akeem Hicks would have been. And plus, he's a lot cheaper. And he also opted out of 2020, so maybe his body's just a little bit fresher. And when he was on the field, he was really a driving force of that dominant Bears defense back in 2018 and even 2019. So I can see this as a sneaky good move as well.
Hey, and the one thing about him that I kind of looked at him is he's very efficient as the 2 tech in that 3-4. This is what you're going to need. This is what you're going to need here. Now, I'm going to keep mine short and sweet because I'm going to let Mike get this one. I'm going to just say it like this. I'm going to ask everybody here. Do y'all watch like war documentaries and stuff like that? About like the old wars back when they were doing sieges and shit.
That's something my father-in-law watched. He watched the History Channel, so he loves stuff like that. I wonder if he watched it though, because he probably shaking his head like, "Yeah, I watched that."
Yeah.
Now, I haven't seen any war documentaries, but does going to the Holocaust Museum count?
Oh man, it counts, but we talking about way back. We talking about sieges with ladders and motherfucker going up ladders and sieging and stuff. But what
I
I'm
was like
trying
more
to say,
medieval times or whatever.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, but I like stuff on feudal Japan and stuff like that. So, basically what we saying here is for our linebackers are the cities. And the opposing offense is the army that's trying to besiege the city. What's the one thing that's protecting the damn city? That's the motherfucking wall that surrounded it. This is what Eddie Goldman can bring to us. This is what Anthony Rush does for us. We got rid of the putty part of the wall last year in Route 96, so that's a big upgrade. Let's just say that.
He was a beware of dog sign.
Oh, but beware of dog sign, boy. You talk about beware of dog, boy. You see Tyler Davidson, you might well call him a damn poodle. What you gonna be? You gonna be beware of that shit. Go ahead, Mike, man. I just want to make it short and simple on that one. Go ahead, Mike. The floor is yours.
Well, I think this is good for our future. Reason being is because one thing you want to set up is your investments. And right now we know for sure that Troy Anderson is our investment for the future. He's going to be that middle linebacker of this defense that they groomed to be the next Deion, the next Foyer. He's that guy that they know. So what you want from a defensive coordinator standpoint is to make sure that all your investments, all your best players are the ones that you want to lead that defense or lead the offense. They're well taken care of. It's like you got relatives coming from out of town. You want to make sure they eat well, they got a room, they stay as nice as possible. They don't have to worry about anything. And this is exactly what you're doing for a guy like Troy Anderson. You want to make his rookie season as smooth as possible. And you don't want a Route 96 standing in front of him and killing his confidence before he even gets started. So you want these big behemoths in the middle of your line. It's like, look, all right, now I can move around. I can use my athleticism. I can use my speed to move around and kind of make plays. So this is not only good for the present, but most importantly, this is good for the future because, like I said, you got Ogundeji, you have Malone. Those guys are, for the most part, going to be our edges for the foreseeable future. But I think this is an investment for not only Grady, but Troy Anderson. Get those guys in space. They need to be in space and have more one-on-one opportunities. And I think this really solidifies one key formation for the Atlanta Falcons. Anybody can take a guess of that formation that I'm thinking?
If you see Tyler Davidson run to his ass formation, that's what we talking about. That they not running.
Not that one. This formation is going to be. He really, with this move, he has two guys. Well, you can play goal line situation. Now you have Marlon Davidson, Grady Jarrett, Eddie Goldman, and Anthony Rush to stop the run. I'm going to take that 9 times out of 10. That's a great 4-man line in short yardage situations. So these are the things that we talk about when we say the small extra details of football. Nobody cares about the goal line situation until you need that goal line stop, or until you need that 4th and 2 stop, that 4th and inch stop. These are the things that you can do with the Eddie Goldman. And like you can throw Vincent Taylor. I saw somebody, forgive me who wrote it, but somebody put Vincent Taylor in there also. That's another guy. So you have a solid rotation of defensive tackles, and hallelujah, Jesus, we got a rotation with defensive. Boy, we got a rotation with defensive tackle now. Boy, y'all don't know how excited I am. We have a rotation with defensive tackles now. It's not the Grady Jarrett show.
We haven't seen this since 2017.
Bro, like serious. I don't think people realize how good that is. We finally have a rotation at the defensive tackle position.
Mm-mm. Hey, and what they do in the commercials? That's how we looking right now.
Right, $1 million.
Wait. What did DDP used to do? I like me. I want to help you like you.
Hey man. Hey man.
But yeah, man, like I said, we definitely all in agreement. I think everybody watching is in agreement, like they love this move. As we've said before, is add not only size, but you add a guy who's a proficient run defender. Big ass parentheses.
Mm-hmm.
Run defender.
Mm-hmm.
On to the next one, man. Hey, no, you said there's some other news that happened today that I think you said you want to go ahead and run point on. What was the other news that happened today?
So apparently Cleveland decided, it was finally time to get rid of Baker Mayfield. So they traded him to the Panthers for a conditional 5th. It can go as high as a 4th, which it's a future round pick. Boo-hoo, whatever the case may be. This now makes us it now makes the Panthers give up a 2nd, a 3rd, a 4th, a 4th, a 5th, and a 6th just to have Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and Matt Corral as their quarterbacks. And so they only had about 4 picks in the draft this past season, right? One of them was Matt Corral, right? So you have Ikem Ekwonu, which you drafted in the 3rd, which you drafted 6th overall. Then you went, your next pick was Matt Corral at like pick 94, whatever. Then your next pick after that was in the 5th round, which was, I want to say, Amari Barno. So yeah, he's another speedy pass rusher, a bit undersized, but really fast. Ooh. And then you have like your last pick in the draft, which was like Kalen Barnes, another fast dude from like Baylor or something. So yeah, that was your entire draft class. Like that was the team. Like that was what you assembled this offseason basically in order to improve your team. I'm sorry, that ain't gonna cut it for me.
I was about to say, do y'all realize that the Panthers literally gave up 4 or 5 draft picks for 2 quarterbacks that got drafted in the top 5 in the same draft 3 years ago?
Dude, you might as well just sign Josh Rosen while you're at it.
Bro,
that was 3 failed quarterbacks from the 2018 class. You got everyone wrong. You skipped over Josh Allen. You skipped over Lamar Jackson.
They spent 5 draft picks on 2 guys that were franchise quarterbacks for other franchises. Think about that for a second.
And now he's a 5th rounder. This was a number 1 overall pick. Who was playing hurt last season. So I went back and I was trying to tally up their wins and losses, all right? Because everyone's saying, well, now they're going to be such a better team, right? So I went back and I looked at their schedule. And I was like, okay, well, now let's consider Baker Mayfield on the roster. Maybe he's starting, which, by the way, they haven't even given him the keys yet because they're still going to have him contention with Sam Darnold. They're not going to try to trade away Sam Darnold because why would they do that? That'd make him a smarter franchise. Anyways, so you have week 1 against the Browns. You know what? I'm going to say, hey, I can give them that win. I see a revenge game. Maybe Baker starts that. Who knows? I mean, the Panthers start off hot anyway, so might as well just give them that win there. Giants, week 2. Okay. Yeah, that's a W. 3rd week, you have the Aints. I mean, they did it last time. Why not? So I'm gonna hand them a W there. Okay. I mean, that would help us out a lot. Cardinals? What are we thinking? No? All right, moving on. 49ers?
Nah.
All right, no. Rams?
No, hell no.
Nope.
No.
Tampa?
No.
Tampa? No. Atlanta, first time?
Hell
No.
No. Bengals?
Oh,
No.
No. Us again?
They might get the second one. They're gonna get one or two.
Possibly from their defense. All right, I can allow that. But I'm gonna go ahead with us now. Ravens.
No.
No.
All right, Broncos.
Nope.
This is later season.
That's Russell Wilson. That ain't happening.
Oh,
Russell Wilson.
Come
damn!
on.
I forgot about Russell Wilson. Damn.
Okay.
Hell
Seattle.
no.
Seattle.
Nah,
I could
They might get
possibly
Seattle.
see them-
They might get Seattle because Seattle don't got a quarterback. So yeah.
Well, they also have a better coaching staff too, so they might keep them in the game. They didn't lose all that much on their roster, and they kind of got better in the draft too than you think. Steelers.
No.
All right. Lions. Now, Lions are a surprising team this year. They played everyone tough.
Tough team. They are a tough team.
They might beat the Lions. That's a pick'em game.
Yeah, I can see them beating the Lions, but that ain't gonna be easy.
It might be the Lions. I'm gonna actually give the Lions that one. Tampa again,
No, they're not beating Tampa. They losing twice to Tampa. We can go
and then
there.
the Aints, and then the Aints the second time.
Nah, they're gonna probably lose to the Saints again.
So
too.
yeah, Baker Mayfield made them at best 5-12. Congratulations, you were at the same record. You did not help swing the needle anyway.
Only to get right back in the same position and try to.
And now you have less draft
quarterback.
picks, more disappointment, and now you have more confusion in the locker room as to who the leader is than you did before.
Oh Lord have mercy. Think about it like this. And we're gonna
But they
go
got the
with this.
better roster, right?
Look, think about this. You went from Teddy Bridgewater, gave him a $63 million contract. Trade him after 1 year for Sam Darnold. Before that, you had Tyler Heineke and Kyle Allen. That's 4 quarterbacks. You brought back Cam Newton. You started P.J. Walker. And now you have Baker Mayfield. So this is within a 4-year span. People, this is what happens when you don't have a damn plan.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks ain't the easiest position to goddamn evaluate around here. You better hit on something.
And Colin, come on, dude. You lost the game week 2 last year. You can't forget as if that didn't happen. You blew out the Packers week 1, and then you got stomped by the Panthers at their own place week 2. You're playing the Panthers at Carolina week 3. That's almost a similar situation.
All right, man. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to let Jew bless us with a little talking point he wanted to get right quick before we get to tonight's main event. So go ahead, Jew, man. What do you want to talk about, man? You said you had something you want to get off your chest.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about chemistry, and we kind of touched on it when we were talking about Eddie Goldman. Like, he's one of those the glue guys. You bring in an Eddie Goldman, the pieces you brought back, Anthony Rush. These guys are pieces that you bring in to basically help Grady Jarrett, your star players, be stars. You need those role players. And I talk about Mohamed Sanu, to me, was one of those integral pieces to that 2016 team. I'm not going to lie to you guys. When we got Mohamed Sanu, I was one of those that wasn't fond of us bringing him in because it was at the price of losing Roddy White at the time, who was one of my favorite Atlanta Falcons. And as you know, he kind of got pushed out the back door due to him and Kyle Shanahan butting heads and things of that nature. But it turned out to be a good pickup with Mohamed Sanu because he was a great compliment to Julio Jones. He was a great compliment to the offense because of his blocking style, you know, his physicality. A guy that's versatile, as K Styles always talks about, versatility. He was a guy you could play in the slot. He was a guy you could use in a wildcat, a guy who could throw the football. So you could use him in a multitude of ways. And I think that was he was a key intricate piece to that offense because he knew he wasn't Julio Jones. He knew that he was the number 2 guy and he didn't overstep his boundaries. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that you guys touched on that a little bit last night about talking about chemistry. So I kind of want to open it up to you guys. I don't want to take all of the time, but I just wanted to bring up like chemistry is very important. And I was talking to them before the show about Klay Thompson in basketball with the Golden State Warriors. To me, he's an integral piece to the Golden State Warriors because he doesn't say a whole lot. He's a guy that keeps his head down, works hard, is arguably the best shooter in the league other than Steph Curry, but he doesn't step on, Steph Curry's toes. He knows he's the guy that has to defend the best player when he was in his prime. He was a guy that was, when Steph is having an off night, as Mike talked about, he was a guy who could pick it up for you. And that's the reason why they call him Game 6 Klay, because he has big games. When Steph is off, he always steps right in and basically plays that star role, but he's a guy that's kind of overlooked. So I just want to tell you guys, a lot of the fans, and I've been seeing on Twitter, everybody talking about this pickup of Eddie Goldman. And, he's not the Instagram model. He's not that splash signing, that shiny nickel, whatever you want to call him. He's not that splash type player, but I think he could play an integral role. And I think it's important that you have players that understand that they're not the star, that I'm coming in to make sure Grady is singled up. That's my job. And that was something that Noah was talking about with Eddie Goldman playing with Akeem Hicks. He understood his role. And I think that that's very important, that this coaching staff, they make it clear to these players what your role is, because everybody has to start their role. If you don't start in your role and you start stepping on each other's toes and everybody wants to be the star player, somebody has to be the leader. And then it's only one chief. Somebody else got to be the Indian. Somebody got to fall in line. And I think that that's very important. And it kind of goes overlooked with a lot of the NFL teams. When you look at the Aaron Donalds, when you look at even the Khalil Macks, when he was in Chicago, he had those guys around him because he was playing with the Leonard Floyds. He was playing with Eddie Goldman. He was playing with Akeem Hicks. So he got those one-on-one matchups. So I think it's important, and I like what the Falcons are doing, that they're building this team. And that's another reason kind of why, and y'all talked about this, about Julio Jones. Bringing Julio Jones into this locker room is going to step on the toes and kind of prevent some of these young players from being able to blossom. So I think it was a blessing in disguise for Julio Jones to kind of be going away from the Falcons, because Kyle Pitts was able to grow. He was able to step into, who he is as a player. And sometimes when you have that guy like Julio Jones, I grew up watching him. That's my idol. You don't want to step on his toes. So it's kind of a good thing that Julio isn't here. And I think bringing him back will only step on the toes of players like Drake London, because they got respect for Julio Jones. So I just want to get you guys' thoughts on that a little bit about just chemistry, team chemistry, because I think that that's huge when it comes to building a winning organization, is having that chemistry with not only the players, but the coaching staff. These players that we brought in, they have chemistry, they have relationships, and you have to have that rapport. If you don't have that rapport, usually that's when, locker rooms divide.
All right. Mike, go out. Will you want to go ahead and reiterate on what you just said for him?
Well, I talked about this earlier. I think more so the players are concerned. I think everybody can look at each team and say, all right, this is why this team is good and this is why that team is good. But one of the things that I'm going to say a lot of people, most fans don't look at a coaching staff and say, all right, this is a great coaching staff. Fans just don't give a damn about the coaching staff. But one of the biggest reasons why the great teams have great teams and success in the NFL is because they have great coaching staff. Why do you think the 92-3 New York Giants was so good? We had two of the greatest head coaches of all time on one staff, Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells. People totally forget about that. You look at Sean Payton and that team, like, he had a great coaching staff. You look at Kyle Shanahan, everywhere he goes, he has a great coaching staff. He brings the same guys for the most part. You go back to the Falcons in 2016 because of Kyle Shanahan. Two of those guys end up going to be head coaches in the NFL. All right. And they was all on our staff. These are the things that we talk about like that creates that chemistry. In order for the Falcons to get to that next level, we have to have all the coaches on board with that vision. And that's one thing from the very beginning. Even when Dan Quinn got here, there was always turmoil and beef between the coaching staff. You remember when he got here, 2016, him and Richard Smith was already. I mean, shit, that should have been a sign that was going to be hell on earth right there. The first sign of success, he trying to kick the motherfucker out the door. He trying to kick Richard Smith out the door, end up getting lucky. So we should have saw that there was a sign that shit was gonna be crazy here and now. Why? Because when all else fails, if you don't buy into Dan Quinn's scheme, he gonna fire you. He gonna find somebody. He gonna find somebody to place the blame on it, and that's why the defense struggled for so many years because the coaches did not buy into the scheme more so than the players. If the coaches don't buy into the scheme, how the hell other players are going to buy into it? And that's the issue. So chemistry is paramount, is huge. And I think it's more important as far as the team is concerned, because if the coaches don't buy into it, what's the point of even drafting guys? And this is the reason why the dumbass Panthers up here with 4 fucking quarters. Pause. Just rest in peace. Just like I'm gonna just stop right there because I'm depressed and I'm not even a Carolina Panthers fan. Like, what the hell are you thinking?
I can't feel bad for Matt Corral.
Like, I do. He had hope in the same year you buried him. Like, what the hell are you doing? How do you draft a quarterback? You trade for a quarterback, give him weapons, and then you bury him with one move. Like, bro, that makes no. Carolina Panthers. You can come to our channel. Come to our channel. Subscribe. We will love you. We will nurture you because you guys need that right now. You need all the hugs. You need all the smiles that you can possibly get. We'll give it to you, okay? I promise you that. Good God Almighty.
So they just saying they just come out the blue talking about, do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry? Do you really want to hurt me? They got people like this. Fire Matt Rule for the love of God.
And one on Baker, you got one star in Baker Mayfield who be biting beer cans like he damn jughead in a bar or something. Like, bro, y'all got some problems in Carolina, bro.
Don't forget he liked to dance too. So don't forget he that's gonna be big. That's gonna be big.
Let's go to the no subject before we end up. It's been a roast session. It ended up as a roast session on Baker Mayfield, man. Oh my God, bro.
All right, so man, let's go. Hey, we got 133 people in here tonight, man. We got
let's get 50
with them likes.
Let's get 50 likes. At least 50.
Gotta get at least
wherever
55,
you are, hit
60.
that like button, please.
So now we get into the main event tonight. The 53 roster projection for the Atlanta Falcons. And
I gotta pull out the depth chart on this one.
No, don't worry.
Since we have the professor here.
I forgot. We got the professor on here.
The professor said he's got our back, man. And while he's getting that ready, let's go ahead and play the intermission music for a few seconds. Do a little plug. So while the professor gets that ready, make sure y'all go ahead and subscribe to Mad Mighty Sports, Jew Talk Sports, the Professor, Noah Tyndale, and your boy 6-Man K Styles. Your ass is definitely professor. You boy, you just poured out a guy. You pulled out Excel. I like, oh Lord, yeah, you are the professor.
Yeah, right.
This boy pulled out a day.
Right.
This boy pulled out.
He
a
already
time
got it. He said, don't worry, I got this. I got this.
All right, so Noah, I'm gonna let you. We're gonna let you since you blessed us with the professional Excel. I'm gonna let you run point on this one. What
All
you
right.
got
So for those that paid attention to our stream that me and Trey tried to do Saturday, he wasn't able to finish the entirety of the stream because he was in a spot where he really couldn't have a good connection. But me and the rest of the chat was deciding, okay, well, here is going to be our starting 11, at least for now. Okay. So at quarterback we have Mariota. Number one wide receiver is Drake London. Number one tight end is Kyle Pitts. Number one running back in the backfield is Tyler Algier. I know what you might be thinking about Cordero Patterson as a second stringer, but don't worry, we can get into that later. Left tackle Jake Matthews, right guard Tris Lindstrom, wide receiver 2. We're thinking Brian Edwards. If not, maybe Zacchaeus. Then maybe a slot guy, you can either have Demir Bird or maybe you can put Carter Patterson there. Right tackle is Caleb McGarry. Center Matt Hennessy for now. Jalen Mayfield, left guard for now. All right, but you can have Justin Schaefer there behind him. You can have Jermaine Ifedi behind McGarry, and then obviously we know about Drew Dalman behind Hennessy. Keith Smith is going to be another wild card there that we can throw in here. All right, so the remaining players on offense that we have not talked about would be, but not limited to, Frank Darby, Felipe Franks, John Fitzpatrick, Parker Hess, Geronimo Allison, Stanley Berryhill, Jared Bernhardt, Kadero Hodge, Karen Batson, Tyshawn James, Avery Williams, Quadri Allison, Damian Williams, Braden Lenius, Tucker Fisk, Elijah Wilkinson, Tyler Vrabel, John Rain, to name a few. All right, on defense, by the way, the second stringer, quarterback Desmond Ritter, wide receiver Sue Auden Tate, tight end 2 at the moment, Anthony Ferkser. So there's that. Defense, our starting 11 we decided on was a similar of a 4-2-5 front, which features Grady Jarrett on the line, which features Anthony Rush on the line, and then which would likely either feature Lorenzo Carter and Arnold Ibikadi on the line as well. The 2 linebackers that we have starting at the moment was Rashawn Evans and Michael Walker. Then we have 5 secondary pieces, which feature AJ Terrell, Casey Hayward at CB2, Isaiah Oliver in the slot. Richie Grant would be the starting free safety. Jalen Hawkins likely the starting strong safety. But getting into this other side, we have behind Grady Jarrett, people decided Timmy Horn would be that. I was kind of thinking Marlon Davidson, but we can save that for later. If AJ Terrell goes down, you need another guy at cornerback 1. We were thinking D. Alford. Same goes for Tease Tabor. Darren Hall could be another slot guy. Eric Harris will back up Richie Grant at the moment of what we're thinking. Nick Kwiatkowski, and then Troy Anderson. We're not sure if Debo will be healthy enough in order to start right away, so we're kind of thinking just the week 1 roster. D'Angelo Malone is a rotational guy. Vincent Taylor, Ogundeji over here. Marlowe to back up Jalen Hawkins, Deion Jones, and then of course I put Eddie Goldman there. I wasn't thinking about putting everyone at the moment because I just kind of ran out of time. Special teams, we have Younghoe Koo, we have Bo Brinkley as a long snapper, we have Bradley Pinion and Seth Vernon to battle it out. We already cut Dom Maggio as a punter, but yeah, we have a lot more names than 53 here, so we're kind of thinking, hey, maybe we can slim this all down. And like I said, we have a lot more practice squad players. Some of them we already cut, like Brad Hawkins, the safety out of Michigan. And yeah, it's it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think this is gonna be a nice battle. In particular, the offensive line. I don't think the offensive line is as set as people may think it is. Obviously, he wants to run. Like he wants to have more roster spots open for the offensive line, reserved for the offensive line on active. So this is one of the main reasons why he's not going to carry a lot of wide receivers. This is huge in my opinion because it becomes a matter of who's that guy. And with the offense that we run, obviously we're going to have offensive linemen, but we're going to carry quite a few tight ends. And our wide receivers being as big as they are, with a Alden Tate as well as a Drake London, those guys can kind of, kind of be tight ends, fill in certain spots to be the tight end that is tight end. So the question I have for you guys is who, because this is a position, who's the X guy? Who are the X guys? Because obviously Cordero Patterson is going to be that guy that we can use in all different sorts of positions. Who are the X guys that you guys are thinking?
I think in this offense is going to be positionless. So, like we always talk about, or Arthur Smith always talks about, kind of in basketball, it's positionless offense. So we have a lot of guys that can line up anywhere. That's one thing that I really liked about Drake London coming out. He played a lot in the slot in college. So it's going to be really hard for opposing defenses to know what set we're in because you got guys that can line up anywhere. Brian Edwards is another guy who can line up inside or outside. Alden Tate has lined up inside or outside when he was with the Bengals. So you have numerous guys, and even guys like Demir Bird. He's a guy who can line up in the backfield, similar to a CP. You got CP who can line up outside, who can line up inside, who can line up in the backfield. So this offense is going to be fun because you're not going to know where we're going to try to hit you from. Like last year was kind of like, okay, wherever 84 goes, watch him. Now it's so many moving parts to this offense that it's going to be hard to put your finger on who is the playmaker on this particular play. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many guys that can do so many different things. We seen that last year with Kyle Pitts. He was lining up everywhere. He was on the outside. He was on the inside. He was on the edge of the offensive line as a pure tight end. So you're not going to really know with any of these guys, similar to Ferkser. Anthony Ferkser is another guy who's similar to Kyle Pitts. He can line up as a wide receiver or line up in the slot. So this is going to be a really fun offense. And I really am not focusing on where guys are like, who's the X, who's the number one wide receiver, because I really don't think in this offense there's going to be guys just lining up in one spot. So that's what's going to be really fun to watch this team is we're going to have different packages. I can see them pulling out 3 guys running off the field, 3 more guys running on the field in certain packages. So it's going to be really hard to scheme for this offense, especially because now you have the mobile quarterbacks. You got to add that into it as well. So it's going to be really, really fun to see this offense this year. And I'm really interested to see how creative Arthur Smith is going to get with it, because you guys know Arthur Smith from last season, it looked like his offense was really vanilla, but I think that was mainly because he didn't really have the pieces to do what he wanted to do. He had guys that were specialists, as I talked about last year, where Zacchaeus, he was pretty much just going to line up in one spot and do one thing, go deep. You know what I'm saying? But this year, it's like you got guys that can do anything and can line up anywhere. So it's going to make it really, really tough for teams to figure out what we're doing or the game plan for us.
First of all, I'm getting PTSD just looking at the fact that this is Excel for one thing.
See, when I'm using my laptop, I don't really have all that ability to maneuver my camera for the controls from my whiteboard, which is already filled up for another project that I've been doing. As you can tell,
What?
like all that.
Damn, Noah.
God damn.
Y'all think this is a joke, bro? Y'all think it's a joke? We come prepared to this, bro.
I thought, hey, bro, hey, look, see that's why no one got the NFL head coach series. Did you see that? Did you see that whiteboard? That's how your game plan.
You should see the other 5 sheets that I have on Excel.
Oh man,
I ain't gonna say nothing on that. But I want to shout out a couple people, man. I had to shout out earlier. Let's get it, GA. He just hit 1K. That's one of the guys.
Congratulations, man.
Congratulations on him for that, definitely. All right, so getting to the X factor part where you saying, and Jude said positionless. I'm gonna take a surprising approach, and I'm gonna actually be definitive on this one. Which is surprising, but On the offensive side, if we're looking at X factors, I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to say Felipe Franks is going to be a major X factor for this offense. Now, is he going to be the third string quarterback / tight end? Yes. He's going to be the definition of a positionless player. They're going to try to use him in a way as what they did with Cordero Patterson as far as versatility, not so much in the backfield, but y'all kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Just to be an athlete, man. Just be an
athlete out there. Just be another big target. He's 6'7", 240. So yeah, you got another big target right there. And defense, this ain't a surprise. When you talk about X factor on defense, this ain't gonna be a damn surprise. Isaiah Oliver.
Yeah, that's it.
Because if you paid attention to the Falcons last year, is the run defense started to suffer a lot more when Isaiah Oliver went down. Dean Pease likes to use him as a edge setter. And this is going to be definitely, with him recovering, is going to add that other nuance, that confidence that, okay, yeah, we got our edge setter back. We got a physical secondary piece coming back. So it's going to set that tone. So to answer your question, yeah, X factors, Felipe Franks, Isaiah Oliver.
You made me feel like I didn't answer the question, Kay. I didn't know he was one player.
No,
You
answered it. You answered it. You just answered it in a different way. You just said everybody gonna be a positionless player. So it's like at the end of the day, like that's what we talk about X factor, because you don't know what to expect from those guys. And I see a comment here, and it's like, stop it, K-Styles, if you think Felipe Franks is being a tight end. We literally have a guy that ain't worth a damn at quarterback. He out here playing every position, but somehow Felipe Franks can't do it. Can you guess who that guy is?
Who?
Taysom damn Hill. Ain't worth a shit as a quarterback, but we up here talking about what Felipe Franks can't do.
And here's the thing, right? Felipe has a brother that's also a tight end.
Have you guys
he's got the family member there as a backup. He's been in both rooms at quarterback and tight end. And Kyle Pitts said in an interview, hey, he loves having Felipe Franks in the room. So if Kyle Pitts is approving of this decision, and if he's like actually putting in the work in order to try and make an effort more than some of these other 7 tight ends that we have, I say let him have it.
Right.
All right. At the very least, you can sneak him there as your quarterback 3, and then if you need 3 more tight ends on your depth chart to fill that out, you can still sneak him in as the 4th option.
He's a guy that runs a 4.445, so he has speed. So picture him on a safety. Most safeties in the league are not running 4.4s and 4.5. Somewhere in the 4.5, the lower 4.4 that they kind of run. Most safeties. So you're not going to have a lot of Ed Reeds out there, all right, running that safety. So you have a guy like Felipe Franks who can run past, not including a Kyle Pitts who is just an absolute stud. But you have a guy like Bird. You have Drake. You have Drake London. These are speed guys. And like I said, I haven't even brought up Cordero Patterson. So a lot of these times, what you're looking at, you're trying to get as a coach, you're looking for a mismatch. I would much rather have Felipe Franks on the edge of the line playing tight end against a defensive end than a linebacker. If I could get that matchup as a head coach, I know Felipe can at least catch the damn ball, that he's going to outrun a defensive end. Most defensive ends in the league is not going to keep up with a guy like that. And we know that Felipe is an athlete. He's an athlete. So he's going to run past those guys because we know for sure that Kyle Pitts is going to demand a certain amount of coverage. So we're not asking him to be an elite or number one, or number two, or number three. We're looking at him to be a tight end that can take advantage of certain matchups. That's really it.
Yeah, we're not asking them to be the number one X factor in our team as like getting more targets or whatever than Kyle Pitts. We're just asking, hey, can you catch a 2nd and 7 pass?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
You don't need to make it so much more like overcomplicated in yourself. Like Lee Smith was able to do that.
And he
and if this build isn't a tight end, I don't know what else you want a 6'7", 245 dude to do. But that screams tight end.
Like I said, at the lightest, I think last I heard it was 6'7", 230, but still, motherfucker, 6'7", 230, his ass needs to be right there, tight end, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He has the same build as Kyle Pitts. Yeah.
And Kyle Pitts isn't even the biggest dude in the room. It's John Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Almost 6'8", 250.
That's a big guy. So you're looking for matchups. We're looking to create mismatches because 9 out of 10, you don't have a 4th or 5th linebacker that's going to be able to keep up with a guy like with the speed or the athleticism of our 2nd and 3rd tight ends.
Right.
Most teams can't do that, and this is why I'm high on Anthony Ferguson as well, because most of the time, like the Falcons have shown under Arthur Smith that he loves 3 tight end sets. He loves to bring in that extra tight end to play wide receiver. He'll split them out, send them in motion. These guys hit the flats, those curl hook routes. Like he loves those types of routes. So if he can just do that, like Noah said, he just asking them, can you catch the ball? Can you catch a 5-yard hook? That's all he's asking. He's not asking him to run double moves, man. He's not asking.
This isn't Adam Gase trying to make 35-year-old Frank Gore to run a wheel route.
Right. Right. He's not asking for that.
It's just basically sit your ass in the zone about 5 yards, catch the pass, go down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a damn shame.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to keep on going with this depth chart. Is there? Okay, so here's gonna be my question. This is gonna be my question. So, out of everybody that's on this starter, on this first string part of the list, either offensively or defensively, that we have right here on the PTSD side of the game, Excel.
If you brought trauma last time I was on here with the music, guess what?
Yeah,
I can return
exactly. Yeah, exactly. But at least you could jam with the music. This right here, you looking like. Nah, but for real though. Out of all the first stringers that's on this list right here, who do you think is the biggest danger of losing that spot?
Ooh, Jew. Go ahead. Ooh, I know you're gonna get this.
That's tough. Offense is gonna be somebody on the offensive line. Like we know the offensive line is, and Mike just talked about it a little while ago. Like nobody's safe on the offensive line but Jake Matthews and Lindstrom. Everybody else can be moved. The center position is not stable with Hennessy. Jalen Mayfield, we know that ain't stable. I think he's the biggest question mark because like they brought in Justin Schaefer for that reason. He's a mauler. So I really think like everybody was getting on Jalen Mayfield, hating on Jalen Mayfield and stuff like that. But we got to be real with ourselves. We asked a rookie to be the starter in one of the toughest roles because of strength reasoning. On the offensive line, if you're a guard, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be matching up against defensive tackles and the bigger, stronger players in the NFL. So a kid coming out of college, 9 times out of 10, unless you're just that good, you're going to struggle just based off of strength alone. Not even technique, but strength alone, you're going to struggle. So I think Jalen Mayfield will be better, but I think he's probably the biggest question mark because they brought in a bunch of guys that can play the same role he plays. Even like a Fetty, he can play guard if he's forced to, be in that role. Schaefer, we know he played at Georgia, and he's a mauler, and he comes from a similar offense where running the ball is paramount in Georgia. Y'all know that as Georgia Bulldog fans. The first, the main ingredient for a Georgia offense is running the football. So I'll say it's definitely got to be Jalen Mayfield or Hennessy on the offensive line as far as the biggest, they're the biggest question mark and possibly will lose their spot. On defense, I'll say probably somebody on the defensive line as well because we got so many new faces on the defensive line because I still don't know. And you guys know we do our research. We look into these players. I don't know who's going to be the starting outside linebackers or even other than Grady, nobody is really set in stone. Maybe Lorenzo Carter because of his experience and because we know Dean Pease prefers guys that are like veterans and understand the game and understand his scheme. But outside of those two guys, Lorenzo Carter and Grady, Arnold Ebiketie, question mark. Even AO from last year. A lot of people are overlooking him, but I really think that because he's going into his second season in this scheme, he may have a leg up even on the Ebiketies and on the D'Angelo Malones because he's been here and Dean Pease knows all the calls. He's been here. He understands the scheme. He's had all summer and all season to look at the playbook and understand what his role is as that edge setter on the defensive line. So AO may end up starting as much as we keep talking about Ebiketie and we keep talking about D'Angelo Malone. We seen him bench one of my favorite players, and I just knew he was going to play in Richie Grant. He made Richie Grant sit the bench for most of the season. If it wasn't for Oliver getting injured, he probably wouldn't have seen the field on the defensive side of the ball because he was kind of grooming him. So to be honest with you, anybody on that defensive line is really like a question mark. So I'll say like the outside linebacker role, opposite of Lorenzo Carter, who I think will be automatically a starter because he is a veteran. He's been around. He understands what he's being asked to do. I think that the other outside linebacker spot in that 3-4, I don't know who's going to be that other pass rusher. Right now, I'm penciling in AO because of his experience. As much as I like Ebiketie, I think AO might end up, right now he has the leg up until we play those preseason games and somebody flashes. Until somebody flash, Dean Pease is going to go with the veteran. We've seen that last year.
All right. What you got, Mike?
Well, I'll make mine short because I know Noah like to talk. So,
and I like to talk.
I'm a offensive side of the ball. I think is pretty fairly easy. It's one position for me that it's interesting, and it's the running back position. I think I don't think it is as etched in stone, and a lot of people think. I think a lot of people are just penciling in Damian Williams as well as Cordero Patterson. I don't think that's what he's thinking at all. If you look at last year and you study Arthur Smith and how he called plays, he used guys in situations. He doesn't necessarily like and that's just his first year, and maybe that has a lot to do with the fact that he doesn't have a star running back like a Derrick Henry. That you like, there's not a lot of tails, but I think this what makes this year a lot more exciting is because there aren't a lot of tails. And this is why I think the Falcons are the most dangerous team in the NFC because you don't know what you're going to get for this team. This is a team that understands what Arthur Smith needs this year, and they have the foundation now that can sustain uh, a berth to the playoffs, and that's those three aspects to that. The first one is the ability to control the clock. Now we know Dean Pease is a defensive coach that doesn't like to give up big plays, so he's going to make the offense burn a lot of time and a lot of clock, and he's not going to give those up. The second one is the running game. Arthur is going to get that running game going. If he has to get 2 yards at a time, 3 yards at a time, 7 yards at a time, that's what he's going to do. He's not going to force it. He's not going to try to make a lot of mistakes. He's one of those coaches. If he needs field position, all right, I'm not going to do anything stupid. I'm going to call this run play. I'm going to call this draw play. If we get it, we don't, we're going to punt it. And the third one is defense. But it's not sacks. It's not turnovers. It's the number 3. And that number is third down. We get off the field on third downs, we don't have to worry about a lot of things, and this team is automatically much better than what it is. So those are the things that I'm focused on more so with this team than anything is those 3 phases of the game. That's how the Falcons are going to make it to the playoffs. Those 3 phases is not. We don't need superstars. I think Baltimore has already proven that you don't need superstars to get to the playoffs. Because let's make this clear, goddammit. Okay? Make this clear. Okay? Y'all see my eyes, how big my eyes is? Let's make it clear. Lamar Jackson ain't do a damn thing in the playoffs. Okay? Ain't do a damn thing. Didn't get them to the Super Bowl. He's a superstar. So they still needed ways to get them over the hump. So if they don't play team ball in every facet, every aspect of the game, you're not going to go. So this team doesn't need a superstar. You need guys that are very good at their job. And we saw this with the 49ers. The 49ers, I'm just telling you right now, that was the worst team I've ever seen make it that far. That team was absolute trash. That defensive line is probably the best part of that team. Let's keep that real. That defensive line is probably the best part of that team altogether. Offensive line was up and down. Deebo Samuel is probably the only spark plug on both sides of the ball. So, like, that team had no business even making it that far. But they had great coaching and had the solid fundamentals and this. What we always say, they pay attention to the small, intricate details of football, keeping that clock churning, getting that first down, stopping them. Like, this is what they do. And that's how they made it that far, even with the lack of weapons on the offensive side of the ball. So this is why I'm looking at these analysts and these writers telling me that the Falcons can't do it when you literally have a shit show at quarterback in San Francisco. That's a bum, okay? He's a damn bum. He ain't no better than Trent Dilfer. But you trying to tell me that the Falcons can't do it and the 49ers are literally that? The 49ers are literally what the Atlanta Falcons are right now.
How many months ago did I say that?
You said that, Noah. You said that. There are no more. Oh my!
We said that after we said that in the post game show.
Yes,
we played the 49ers.
It was a mirror matchup.
Exactly.
I do a bomb at quarterback. Who the hell wants Jimmy Garoppolo?
Apparently the porn stars. I mean, apparently that's why they call them porn porn star Jimmy. I guess the porn stars want him, but
that's a whole nother subject. But no, what you got, bro?
Yeah, you said you like to talk. I was just gonna look at the inside linebackers.
I'm about to say, Mike. That was the longest
I
brief
got
comment
mad.
ever.
Y'all know how when I get mad, when I get upset, I tend to go a little bit longer. That kind of ticked me off when I started talking. Yes,
All right, so
we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that one. Yeah, I gotta talk about that one.
So I mentioned the linebackers, right? So starting at the moment, we have Rashaan Evans, who DPs loves to coach around. Michael Walker has been chomping at the bits for a starting role, but then right behind them you have Deion Jones, who might come back at around let's say first quarter of the season. I can see that. Then you have a role player and Nick Witkowski. Then you have another somewhat role player, but somewhat do it all in Troy Anderson. And then you have, who I haven't listed here, but I'm just going to write his name here. Kwani Deng, who from Cal. He has been a 6 year, it's not like 6 years of college ball, and he opted out. I want to say one of those years, and he got hurt early on in 2021, which made him draft eligible. But if he was eligible in 2020, he may have been like a mid-round pick, like a third rounder guy. But since he wanted to go back, prove more to the film for the coaching staffs, and then got hurt in the process, he slid under a lot of people's radar. So I can see him. If you don't know anything about him, basically he is the same size as Kyle Pitts, 6'6", as a outside linebacker, 240, long arms, and was a playmaker back in Cal when he was able to start. But then he was in another college too. So he's another sneaky underrated guy who can, make his presence known either on special teams or in certain packages. So I can see his talent being either as a pass rusher or either as just another linebacker. He's not the best coverage guy, but he can get there. Same with Trey Anderson. He's not the best because he's still learning the position of linebacker. But as Drew was already saying, hey, one of the very close positions of a quarterback is a linebacker, and Troy Anderson's done good at both. So I can see that playing a huge role in terms of just the confidence level that each of them have with each other. So the chemistry there is something that I am really fascinated by because they were such a prevalent group from last year, but now they're going to have help. So try to get to this wall, and then you're going to be met with a plethora of guys that can act as their own little Swiss Army knives.
Ooh, man, that's kind of hard to follow all three of y'all on this one. Look, God. But if I'm gonna go based off of this list right here, this is why I always say, goddamn, for some reason it always seems like me and Noah always be right there neck and neck. But I have a difference I'm gonna take this a little bit of a different role here. And he got it highlighted right there and there. That name right there, Michael Walker. We just going off of this list now because we don't know when, like I said, we don't know when Deion Jones gonna be back. Well, I think Michael Walker in this list has a danger of losing that spot to Kawikawack. Kawikawack has a good chance of taking his spot.
I don't know how to say that.
You just can't stop.
Kwiatkowski. Yeah. Now, is it most likely? Am I saying that is a definitive? No, that's not a definitive statement. But even though Michael Walker is the most athletically gifted of the linebackers we have right now, like you said, he's not going to force Troy Anderson into this starting. He's not going to force Troy Anderson on the field. Not right away, anyway. But what have we always said about what Dean Pease wants? He wants smart players. He wants players that are familiar with his shit.
That is exactly how you spell Koikowak, by the way.
Exactly. Oh man, I'm about to say, boy, if anybody start calling him Koikowak, y'all already know where y'all got it from. So don't. Y'all better give me a shout out when folks call him Koikowak. But yeah, it's kind of his position to lose because, like you said, Kwiatkowski. Make sure I said why. Kwiatkowski. Ain't that about a bitch? How did I get Antetokounmpo Ogundeji right, but Nick Kwiatkowski I can't get right? Too many K's in there. That's what it is. It's like it's not.
Some ancestors won't let you do.
Too many K's in there. But yeah, like I said, Michael Walker, and like I said, he's the athlete. He, like I said, he has the best chance of starting. But with Kwiatkowski having the experience, having the experience, I could kind of see leaning towards that. Okay, we got a bunch of young linebackers. Let's put our experienced guys out here first and ease them on in here. Especially if Michael Walker doesn't pick it up like they want him to. So I'm just gonna end it with that one right there. That's the one that I'm kind of looking at on this list right here. See, there goes Matt talking about Kawako. I'm telling you, somebody gonna tweet him and call him Kawako. This is gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be hilarious. They're like, who the hell is Kawako? This is dude named Case. He calls you Kawako all the time.
Oh my goodness.
But man, let's go ahead and start winding this thing down for the night, man. We're gonna go ahead and get everybody's final takes and final thoughts for the night. I hope y'all definitely glad that y'all appreciate this show tonight, man. Like you said, it's always the heavy hitters, and we got the professor. So you already know you about to get schooled. So the floor is open to whoever want to start their final thought for the night. Woo-woo.
I started off. I'm gonna start it off right for you guys, man. Like as Kay said, we're gonna play the point. We're gonna point guard this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off for you guys. Just looking at that list, I'm getting excited because this is the first season in a while that we have depth. That's what I was looking at when all of us was stating who the question marks are. I'm like, this whole team is a question mark because we have so much depth, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing when you can't just pin guys in. Like the last couple seasons, we knew Matt Ryan, pin it in, etch it in stone, whatever you want to say. We knew he was starting. Kyle Pitts, etch it in stone because we ain't had nobody else. Calvin Ridley, before he left the team, etch it in stone. They won't nobody competing for his spot. But now we can't etch pretty much. If you look at, I was looking at all of the lists and listening to you guys, and I'm like, we really can't etch any positions in stone. If we be real, nobody's position is etched in stone. Even down to Marcus Mariota, even though I've kind of etched it in stone in my personal 53-man roster, we know that injuries can happen. We know that he could play bad, like play horrible in preseason, and somehow, somewhere, Desmond Ridder plays great, and they're like, may the best man win type situation. Do I see that happening? No, but I love the depth on this team because we know at some point in during this season, somebody's going to get nicked up. We've seen it the last couple years. Last season with CP, when he hurt his ankle, it was just like we've seen the whole offense dip. And it's a good thing when you have guys that are on similar playing fields, because I don't really think that the drop off between our players is that big of a drop off. And that's always a good thing when you have guys that can step right in and the drop off is not tremendous. Because we seen, I think that was 2018 when Keanu Neal got hurt, Deion Jones got hurt. Like the drop off was crazy because you went from like Keanu Neal to like Kamal Ishmael, and that that drop was ginormous. Like, yeah, that was like a roller coaster drop. Like that play went from.
Or no, didn't we have Duke Riley at that time?
What'd you say?
Didn't we have Duke Riley at that time?
I think so. I think we did have Duke Riley at that time, but that was
perfect meme. Perfect.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Kamal who? Yeah, them eyes said it all.
or do you want to go with this one? Who?
That's just OG Sam.
Wow. No.
Yeah, that is Sam.
That's
Sam, old crazy ass.
That's Sam for sure.
Yeah, man. But that's all I'm gonna say. Y'all always know I'm big on strength in numbers, and we have depth on this team. So I'm very excited because we have that depth. So, like I said, we know injuries at some point, somebody gonna get injured, and you gotta have somebody that can step up. And we don't need to be hiring people off the couch like we've been doing, having to go out and bring somebody off the street that's selling cars or that's working wherever. Like y'all said last night, working at KFC, I think Mike said. we don't need to be pulling nobody out off the street to come play for the Falcons. And we've had to do that a couple times the last couple seasons. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Your boy is on the road to 2K. I believe, K, how far are you from 1K? I know it's
like 60.
Like 60.
Last I checked was like 61 or something.
Okay, like 60. So y'all get your boy to 1K. Y'all know Mad Mike on this quest for 10K. So y'all help your boys out over here, and not just on our channels, but everybody. Miss Maggie, I seen her in the chat. Y'all go show her some love as well, and show the professor. He graced us with his presence tonight. So definitely y'all go check him out as well. But I just enjoy doing this with you guys. But like I said, we're one more day closer to the NFL season, one more day closer to training camp. But depth is the key word for me tonight. Just looking at the roster, and we appreciate your Excel spreadsheet, Noah, because you made it clear to me that we got a lot of depth on this team this year, which is good news.
All right.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I showed that whiteboard. It's for another project. That project is me. I might just keep this on my own channel, but I might do a stream, and it's going to try to slim down and make a somewhat of a list of a top 100 fantasy picks. Ooh. Going from 100 down to number 1. All right, I'm including defenses, kickers, tight ends, running backs, receivers, quarterbacks, flex options, you name it, whatever you need. I'm going to try to narrow it down to see like, hey, what is the best pick? All right. And to help me with that, I took a lot of time last night, like late last night, or some consider really, really, really early morning. And I went down and I started looking at a lot of the schedules for everyone because I wanted to see like, okay, well, who has the easiest path to have a good performance this season, and then try to use that to my advantage. So I just went ahead and I created an entire season prediction in my head again. I did this last time. I didn't really follow through with it, but this time I'm a little bit more confident. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. So if you guys are ready for that, then you can stick around on my channel. Maybe you can get me to 50 subscribers. That'd be cool. Speaking of which, speaking of gaming channels, K Styles. I'm gonna alley this up to you.
Hey, I was gonna save it until I got to my point, but I'm do a quick look. Hey, K Styles, the other channel, the 6MK Games. Mm-hmm. Coming soon. That's all you got to know?
Yep.
All right, Mike, go ahead, man.
I want to end it on this point. I gotta make a timestamp for myself. 120. I think this season is not so much for me personally. I'm not focused on the players. I think the players are gonna make their mark easily. But this is crucial for this franchise and the rest for the next 2 to 3 years. Because we need for Arthur Smith to showcase what he does well and to focus on that one particular aspect of what he does well. And when he got the job, even when he was in Tennessee, he was known for one particular thing: scoring touchdowns. He didn't have an explosive offense. He didn't do anything particularly, exciting. He didn't throw the ball deep 40 times in a game. Look, they weren't the greatest show on turf. They weren't the Falcons. They didn't have Julio Jones. They didn't have all these types of weapons. But what he did well was score a touchdown in a variety of ways. So that's what I'm going to be focused on this year is how I don't care about the yards. I don't care about the quarterbacks, how many yards the quarterbacks throw. I don't give a damn about the interceptions. I want to see how creative he gets when we get into the red zone. If he can improve on that aspect, this team is going to be a major problem for years to come because we always say, and this is a staple in the NFL, the teams that kick the least amount of field goals typically wins the game. We don't need Young Wei Koo leading the league and scoring again, okay? We don't need that. We need touchdowns. So my focus on this year is Arthur Smith scoring touchdowns in the red zone, being more creative, how creative he gets in the red zone. Damn, I did that in less than 2 minutes. Damn, I'm proud of my damn self.
You proud of me too. Good job. Good job.
Damn.
You have graduated.
Hey, I'm trying. All
right. So, as we already know, I'm gonna come in and we're gonna close it the right way. And we definitely appreciate everybody tuning in to the Heavy Hitters. As you already see, this is our world, minds. And also make sure y'all tune in to Atlanta Falcon Nation tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Dirty Bird Thursdays. We got some good things going over there for you, so you better make sure you check it out. Or we're going to have Tyler Davidson come to your door and try to sack you.
We're going to have Dirk Cutter ruin your connection.
Yeah, I already had to slap the Idaho potatoes out of his hand for that shit. But my final word today, outside of the gaming channel that Noah just said, the 6 and K games, I'm going to put it in my community tab again if you haven't seen it. Hold up, I got to pause the music on this. Baker Mayfield was not the only news.
Y'all don't get it. Y'all do not. Y'all don't understand. This man, he despises Baker like I despise LeBron. Bro, look, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. I thought you was gonna let that slide. That's why I burst out laughing.
No, I'm about to say it's gonna lead to what I'm saying. I'm letting y'all right now know that BET Uncut has just came back out again.
What? What the hell?
I'm gonna say this one name and this one name only. Did y'all? I wonder if anybody saw. Well, this is the end of the show, so I'm gonna say this: Pussy Poppin' Pamela.
Oh my God!
If y'all don't know who that is, we got senators out here busting it wide open for votes. When I tell y'all this was some of the most ass backwards, sit your goofy ass down shit I done seen this week. How you gonna? And I already had to talk about Molly Quorum and her always got to interject herself into a goddamn conversation. Shit, we got a motherfucking senator from Rhode Island, pussy popping on a handstand. It was a ludicrous video at a beach. Devontae said she looked like a thwomp.
Where the hell are we going with this?
Bruh, it was the most embarrassing looking thing I've ever seen before. Because for one thing, I don't know what the hell she was trying. Oh, I'm gonna show y'all after this show. After this show is, we're gonna show. I ain't trying to get this thing demonetized.
She may have gotten less votes from doing this.
Oh my God, man!
Oh my God! I felt sorry for the sand she was doing the handstand on because it
oh my!
It just looked bad for It just looked all the way bad. It's like, man, attention is a hell of a drug, bro. It's like anybody would do anything, and y'all made me this made me cut my music off.
Oh my goodness.
We went from 2020 where you got strippers advertising getting your booty to the pole. Now we got senators busting it open for votes.
That don't even sound right. All I picture is a white old lady try to. Never mind. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop while I'm here.
This wasn't a white lady.
I'm just saying that's what I picture when I let's just stop.
Man, like I said, until next time, y'all, man. God damn. Hold
Oh
on.
my God.
I'm finna do it right. As we continue back into the right outro. As we tell y'all, we ain't here to play. We here to stay. You ain't gotta go home.
But you gotta get the hell out of here.
And if you don't like that, my friend Jimmy got a few words for you. Jimmy, tell him.
And if you two don't like it, you can just pass the blunt to the nigga on your left.
Deuces.